Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening. Today's topic is about resting in Jesus. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from one of our sponsors. Step away from the world and step into the arms of Jesus. Written and read by Carrie Eichberger. This is too important not to share, so I want to get right to it. Stepping out and away from the endless demands of the world is one of the hardest things to do. I know this because it sure is me. But when it's for the sake of stepping into the arms of Jesus, it's the most beneficial path you'll choose to take. Proven true in my life again and again. Rewind 6 months with me. I found myself volunteering and serving my overachieving self silly, putting in something like 40 or so hour weeks with Bible study leadership and ministry duties, on top of strong attempts to keep rock starring my mom and wife self-set duties. And then it all became too much, way too much, in fact. So no surprise, I suppose, that I finally hit the wall of burnout and began to hear the Lord prompting me to take some steps away. First from leading studies, then laying down many of my ministry plans, and finally, even releasing some of the demands at home. And so I walked in obedience, one weary, shaky, spirit-led step back at a time, until it felt I'd almost completely removed myself from my entire visible world. And at this point, all I really knew to do was fall into the rescuing arms of the Lord for a refill of soul fuel, for renewal, and a total recharge in Him. And here's the awesome part. In this foreign desert land, a newfound beauty began to emerge. I slowly started to see God's provision and care of the things I had recently removed myself from. Seeds I had once planted and stepped back from, God continued to grow. He continued to care for my people in my seemingly semi-absence. He continued to care for me. He cared for me with encouraging realizations that He had me. He cared for me by increasing my confidence to rest more and more in Him. He cared for me by boosting my belief that He is in absolute control, though I had been living too long like I was. And He cared for me by growing my understanding that He no doubt wants me to depend, not 50%, not 85%, but 100% on Him. He carried my burdens. He gave me rest. He grew my faith. Intersecting faith and life. Have you been feeling a potential pull away from the craze of what feels like a spinning out of control world in order to fall into the rescuing, resting arms of God? I know how hard it is, but I want to encourage you to lean into the Lord and listen attentively to His call. I pray you will find a fit for this good choice in your life. Whether you need to say yes to an extra hour a day with the Lord for daily doses of refreshment, plan a week off work to refill a more depleted soul, or check out from something specific for an indefinite sabbatical to gain a complete renewal of the spirit. If you've been feeling worn down by what's going on around you, ask God if it's time to take that dedicated allotment your heart's been craving to truly all that's weighing you down to Him, to the sovereign God of love and goodness. And remember, He will continue to care for you, everything around you, and all things in His creation. You can be confident to retreat from certain circumstances of your world and run into the rest of His presence for as long as He calls. You will never regret the choice to fall into His arms. The Lord will be so delighted, and so will you. Friends, intimacy with Him grows there. Strength in Him grows there. Peace and joy in Him will bloom and grow there. I know you want that just like I do. He is waiting, arms stretched out wide, just for you, right now, always. Psalm 73, verse 28 says, "But as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I will tell of all your deeds."
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.